just what people thought about sports. We can tie it into, of course, I'm going to go mental health, but just the impact that it takes mentally and emotionally to be on that platform almost every day. What you looking at? For about 2 to 3 weeks, we are live. Welcome to another episode
This
of Mind
boy.
Control. As you guys know, we're still doing our pilots and we're still testing out the water. You hear that, Caleb? No,
What song was that?
I just made it up. So put me in your band.
Oh,
Thank
oh, that was a freestyle. Period.
you.
Period.
Uh, so this evening, I am your captain. Coach Nita's in the building. We look like the Brady Bunch. But who I got to the upper right
For
to
real.
Don't point because you don't know where we
I
are.
don't know where you at.
You
So
don't
tell
know where they.
me.
It's your boy Caleb Rashad.
And it's Nisha Michelet.
Yes, I love it. This evening, to our viewers, to our subscribers, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. We are growing vastly every single day. We're learning new techniques. We're learning so many different things. But the beauty of trying new things is trying to realize what the results are going to be. Are we going to do it this way? You're going to do it this way. This evening, Nisha is half asleep, but we're going to make it happen. We are processing. Da, 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 2 snaps for the Olympics. Those of you who didn't get an opportunity to chime in with the Olympics, I am I am pleased to say that the Olympics have had such an impact on us as a society. It's had an impact on our day to day life. Shout out to all the athletes. Some of the sports I had never heard of in my life, and I'm a sports head. I do remember in middle school, Nisha trying out badminton, and I was like, "What the hell is this?"
You
So
actually tried out for badminton?
I didn't
Like
know.
that's a I didn't know that was an actual sport.
Right?
Like
Don't even get
a
me
I
started.
knew it
competitive
was a
sport.
sport. I just didn't know that
I didn't know
Nita.
it was a competitive
I
sport.
didn't know
Like
that Nita. I couldn't imagine Nita trying out for badminton.
I part of our PE course when I went to middle school in Claremont,
Charlie.
and it changed my life because sometimes when you're so accustomed to your cultural norms, we know football, we know basketball, we know a little bit of soccer, but I was introduced at an early age to water polo, to badminton, to so many different sports that I had no idea what it was. And
Yeah.
I think that's just the beauty of
where they had water polo at?
honey at my
Be quiet.
honey. They had a whole Olympic sized pool. And culturally growing up, we were
The
told to
YMCA.
not get our hair wet, right? So when they had us do swim classes, shout out to the viewers online. When they had us do swim classes, my grandmother wrote this whole paragraph, and she was like, "Minnie is not to get her hair wet." And no lie, y'all, she sent me to swim class with my baptism cap on. That face right there. That face right there. The baptism cap is that little plastic little thing that go on your head.
She said you covered in the blood.
You cover it in blood and you gonna not get this hair wet. So what that did, it limited me because to this day, I still don't know how to swim. That ain't nobody's business but the people that's
I don't
do.
know how to swim either
Really. Um,
at this big age.
we
Come on, black people.
I'm over here judging in
You
my case.
gotta do better.
Shout out
That's what
to
they got life jackets for. You know what I'm saying? Floaties.
No, no.
I won't tell nobody
I
that
could
you.
do a little doggy pedal.
So I'm going to ask you, Nisha, as our viewers on Instagram are watching too, give us your take on the Olympics. I mean, you're a music head, you're a culture head. Give us your perspective and your take on that.
I don't really watch the Olympics. I don't consider myself a sports person. I do enjoy sports to some degree. I like watching live sports. I enjoy the camaraderie and the teamwork of sports. So there are aspects of sports that I do like. I really enjoy movies like Remember the Titans. I just, yeah.
Yes.
So that I have that type of interest in. I don't feel like I have the same type of interest in sports that most sports people do. I feel like there's other aspects of sports that I'm just like, oh, I like this.
Mhm.
I do feel like this particular Olympics this year has made it more appealing. Like maybe in the future it would be something I would actually sit down and watch. I don't know what the difference is, but you have Snoop Dogg, and then
Yeah,
I'm
the way that they
happy for,
advertised it this year was just
yeah, black people are dominating the Olympics.
we rooting for
Um,
everybody black. Okay.
Culture
black
and
people,
black.
and furthermore, USA are dominating the Olympics. I love black people's like temporary patriotism for the Olympics.
I like the emphasis on temporary. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, I do love all of that stuff. And then there is sort of an interesting aspect to it as far as what it takes to become an Olympian in general, the type of mentality that it takes to become an Olympian, to become great, to become the greatest of all time. That, that is like a comparison of 1 to 99. Like that's just kind of a once in a lifetime thing to witness, experience. And I just couldn't imagine, like, what could you guys imagine what Simone Biles' life is like from a mental,
We don't.
physical standpoint on a day to day basis?
That's a conversational piece in and of itself.
Right.
Have that because I believe. Shout out to everyone, even the people who didn't make it past the trials. Right.
Right. I heard of, you guys remember Gabby Douglas?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
She was, I didn't know that she had kind of like fell back from gymnastics. I think she had an injury.
Mhm.
But this Olympics kind of like like reminded me of her, and I was just like, what happened to her? Where's she at? And I read and found out that she did try to get into the Olympic trials she did go to like Olympic trials this year, and she got injured again. So
Mm.
yeah, that, it opened my eyes in like a lot of ways. Like, okay, what happened to our older goats? I remember when Gabby Douglas was popping, and she was doing flips at the BET Awards while Alicia Keys was singing "Girl on Fire" and stuff like that. I learned about Dominique Dawes, who like came up with her like had her own move or something like that, and it was banned because nobody else could do it. So I've learned.
That's another segment right there.
Yeah, I've learned a lot this year because like I said, something about
I
the
just learned
way,
that.
right, something about the way they're doing the Olympics this year. That I just feel like I've had a true education and a true interest and investment in, just sports overall and the event overall.
I appreciate that. Caleb, give us some feedback. What's been your take and your experience with this?
I'm not a sports head either. I watch sports for other reasons. Okay. Um, like I'll watch basketball. Like I will actually like I enjoy basketball games.
Okay.
Um, Football, I only watch the Super Bowl for the halftime shows.
I can see that.
So yeah, I'm not a sports person, but I am an entertainment person, and
Yeah.
sports is still entertainment. And like I said, the way that they advertised it this year was just, I don't know, it was very appealing to, I don't want to say black people specifically,
But it
but
kind of feels that way,
it
doesn't
kind of feels that way. Like this Olympics feels very like black or
And
like,
when you think about it, from a perspective of sports, I hate to make it a racial entity, but there are some gifts that black and brown individuals that we've had just come to us just genetically. And
Yeah.
this is
and
where
I
you.
think it's also like really, because I don't know what it is about like men, like black men, and like being into like being into gymnastics and stuff like that. But I think that is cool. Like I was watching some video of like the Olympics, and I forget the guy's name, but he went viral for like doing these crazy flips and stuff. But I was going down the rabbit hole of their training,
Yes.
and
Hmm.
I'm like, this is not your high school track team. Like, no, this is like out of the entire world. These are
Yeah,
like the top out of the entire world. So it's like they're putting their bodies through like these crazy
Yes, yes.
training. Like
I
it
agree.
just
Like
really opened my mind
years,
to like what the body can do.
yeah,
And really I feel like it's making more people like comfortable with like experimenting and wanting to try new things and not just sticking to, black people tall, he gotta play basketball, oh he big, he gotta play football. That's
So would you
the
say
main sports that you
would
hear a lot of boys want to play.
a lot of cultural norms that we have
uh-huh.
Hmm.
in society, that it's breaking these, placing these labels on us as individuals, that you're big, you're strong, you're mighty, so go out and play football. If you notice from a historical perspective, is that football has not really been a part of the Olympics.
Hmm.
No,
Because not to say that football is an easy sport. I couldn't imagine getting smashed up like that every day. But at the same time, it takes much more than just grit and strength. It takes technique, it takes talent, it takes
hmm,
perseverance. When I'm looking at it from a perspective of culture, you both are into the entertainment. You guys are both beautiful online presences. What do you think aligns with being at this level? Like you just don't wake up and be like, I'm gonna start doing some flips. I'm gonna start doing that. What would you say it really takes at this level to master where they are?
I just want to say from the chat, Kayla, I agree that this year's Olympics was very cultured and black. I do mirror that sentiment. As far as um, Nita, what was your question exactly?
Like
From
as far as how would you align it? Because you guys are on the platforms every day, and some people feel that they make what you guys do and what we do very easy. Like it's not easy doing it.
right,
Some technicalities.
um,
How would you align and make it the similarities between the two?
it's consistency.
Yes,
It's sacrifice.
yes, it
There
is.
has to be plenty of sacrifice and discipline
Yeah.
um, that goes into just being the greatest in the world in your field. And this is sports. This is sportsmanship. So there's like a physicality aspect of it. I don't even want to know what these people's workout routines, diets, how often they work out, how little they're able to, have fun. It's, you know,
But I think also with like sports there's like this like personal connection with like the fans to the athletes. And I
yeah,
think with social media this year with the Olympics, like social media like really helped that patriotic feeling, I guess.
yeah,
Which is why I said I don't want to say it was like advocated towards like black people this year because it's
yeah.
also very patriotic and I don't consider myself patriotic at
It
all.
definitely was a sense of like online camaraderie.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Rose, in the chat. Like I was definitely tuned in, and like I said before,
Yes,
I'm
I've
not.
never been this tuned in before
I've
to the
never been. I
Olympics.
can't recall any time ever that I've been this tuned into
But
the.
when they brought out Beyonce, I was like,
she
y'all
was
got
Yeah,
me.
texting me on
Y'all
the
got me.
side. Rose was
Beyonce
texting
had
me
an
on the
ad.
side, trying to get like this person is running, and this she was a dancer, right? So shout out to her dance group, Cutie Pies, back in the '90s. But to see her so engulfed in this, I think
Mm-hmm.
it changed the trajectory of how
It really
people
did.
greatness. It impacts. I mean, she's watching the hurdles. She's watching long distance running. Even though she was rooting for some of the cute people, and I'm not even into sports, she says, and I love.
Okay. It was
How,
some
so
fun
if
and
you were to
something else.
if you guys were to watch it, and you guys tell us in the chat too, like if you guys watch the Olympics, don't watch the Olympics, going forward, what do you think? Because the Olympics going to be in LA in 2028. Not really looking forward to that, honestly, from a Southern California living perspective. But what sports, just in light of
Oh,
this year's Olympics, what sports do you think you would be? willing to be tuned into that maybe that you weren't really watching before. Like me, I would love to watch fencing. When I was younger, I
Yeah.
learn how to fence. And because I saw that movie Parent Trap, so I wanted to learn how to do it. So I think I would take an interest in fencing and start watching. Hey, in the chat.
Hey y'all. I gotta remember to talk to the chat. Talk to the chat.
Yeah, having a chat is a new aspect for us. So please bear with us. But I have it up right here. I'm not trying to ignore nobody.
When I look at it from a perspective of culture, we had shout out to Uncle Snoop, right? We had Uncle Snoop,
Yeah.
we had Flavor Flav, we had his Snoop's bestie Martha Stewart, who gets a pass in the culture, right?
Okay, she's definitely invited to the cookout. Okay.
I look at it as we were able for 2 weeks straight to combine music, fashion, culture. Did
hmm
you look at the
The
equation?
Men's
team, the team
fashion.
fits. The
The
team
fit.
fits. Yeah, the team
Yes.
You,
uniforms were
we
eating. I
also saw it
personally
from
was living for Jamaica. They were eating
yes.
everybody.
I liked Germany.
Okay, okay.
Germany did not let us down.
Germany did not let us down.
Really stood out to me is we were able to see some men be able to have a presence of masculinity that it was accepted, but we were also able to see beauty from women because sometimes sports places individuals in such a tough persona that
hmm
you can't really be beautiful. You can't really, be flaunting. I saw some very naturally beautiful black, brown, white women. I saw some beautiful species stepping into these arenas and allowing the sense of self care to be the forefront.
Yeah, I was
I
just looking at these like people's bodies, and I'm like,
I was too,
they're
honey.
so like sculpted, and I'm like, what in the hell? Like,
I
My
that's
like
my
Carly
crazy.
Richardson's nails. I like how she's always got her nail game.
another part of fashion. If we have to, what's her name, Jackie Jordan Kersey from back in the day when she had the nails.
Yeah, that they showed like past black women in the Olympics and like their quintessential style, and you know what I mean. Everybody likes to come for Shakari, like her look is like ghetto, so I or whatever. So I just like how she fully embraces her blackness and she's unapologetically herself wherever she shows up, whether it be here or Paris. I love that, and I love how social media kind of like becomes an advocate for our greats and teach us like, no, this is nothing new, there's nothing new under the sun. Rose, you gonna have to let us know what the how much the ticket prices are, because Lord knows I'm gonna be hibernating in my apartment. I'll probably be watching from the comfort of my home and not
Yeah,
stuck out in that traffic,
right. I'm just thinking about traffic.
hating life.
I right, Rose. She said yes, the girls were bomb, body, face, and nails. I also love the fact that there were respect to male gymnasts.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah, that's
society
what I was hinting. That's what I was talking about. I
it
thought
can
that
be
was really
very
cool.
it can be very shunning when you
hmm
are limber, when you are that way.
I don't appreciate people constantly coming for Simone's hair all the time. It feels like year after year,
So
people
let's
are
talk
coming
about that. Let's
for
talk
her
about it from
hair.
the perspective
and and I
of
feel like that's us. I feel like that's our culture. I feel like that's black people, black women coming from for her, and like because we have this thing about like being put together and stuff like that. But I'm
Right.
just like, child, she is a gymnast
For
doing
not wanting to wear your natural hair, and it's like, I'm not coming up here with a 60-inch bush down trying to do
right.
flips.
And even if you wanted to,
I
it's
ain't
just
doing
like
it.
leave her alone. Like she's up here doing like math flips and splits,
Yeah, like
stuff like that. Her hair is allowed to look a little out of place. Like she's busting her ass out there on that mat. Like please leave her alone.
again, this is not your high school competition. This is in the world the top picks in the world.
Exactly.
So hair is not the really concern right now. Like,
Right, right. Like let it.
we have to tie it together and we're looking at it from a mental health perspective, right? Remember the last Olympics, we had some athletes who were battling mental health concerns such as depression, anxiety. We were looking at it from a perspective of just the weight of the world that were on a lot of these athletes' shoulders. If we had to also process, not to bring it up, but we had some athletes dealing with SA, right, who were
Yes.
being
Didn't
uh,
um didn't Simone like have to drop out of Tokyo 2020 because of
yes,
like
hmm
mental health reasons,
mental
potential
health.
assault reasons?
We didn't really understand there was a lot that was happening underneath the surface, and it
Mm-hmm.
also plays a role in how trauma has the ability to take over your mind, where you
Mm-hmm.
and focus. And here's where the respect comes in for her, is that she had an awareness of her traumas, she had an awareness of her triggers, and she chose to opt out. She didn't get
Right.
kicked.
Yeah, because one, being an Olympian takes that's already a lot of like mental stress that you
Stress,
have to take on.
pressure, yeah.
So that other stuff that was going on behind the scenes on top of that,
Yeah.
yeah, babe, we gotta take a break. Like,
Yeah, yeah. And you realize that when she decided personally to take that time out, look how many more doors opened for her. She was able to find love, or love find her. She was able to really grow and develop. One thing that I loved about one of the tweets that she put up, she said, everyone pretty much had something to say about me 2020, but these are some of the main people who were sitting at home on their couches. This was me.
Yeah.
Ooh, shit.
Yeah, I hate that she constantly feels like she has to like advocate for herself. Just any public figure constantly feeling like they have to advocate for themselves online. I saw the post with her like holding the fan up to her hair, like my hair is done, but I'm on this bus. It's 95 degrees. Like, please just stop complimenting on Black people's hair. To Naya's point, you know, every time she goes on the mat, she wins. So why are we even talking about her hair? Maybe
right,
maybe messy hair is a part of her charm and her good luck.
And
Cause
if you notice, every time she wins, she gets paid.
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Speaking
So
of getting paid, did y'all know that Snoop Dogg was making like 500, half a mil every single day?
every single day.
see, it's Snoop Dogg gonna get that bag.
He
Okay, he's out here.
one that is
Snoop
Snoop,
Dogg is
get a
gonna get
bag,
that
dog.
bag.
But let's perspective of professionalism. Oftentimes, we can stay in a comfort zone, right? We can stay
Hmm.
in places. Y'all know, I know the boxing club like the back of my hand. But when we decided as a collaborative to say, hey, let's do a podcast, the introvert in me starts to go, oh shoot, I don't know if I'm ready for that. But I noticed that more doors of opportunity have opened when I decided to get out of my comfort zone. Now, just
Hmm.
if Snoop was still on that gin and juice with his two little plaits and his little barrettes at the end, imagine the doors that he would have missed if he didn't polish some things up, if he didn't
Hmm.
do things and enter different rooms. I heard that there was a lot of feedback that he was making too much. Some of
Oh
the
wow.
Olympians should have made this. They should have made that. But I feel like
How
when
you gonna tell somebody what they should make and you ain't did what they you
And
haven't
yeah, I
put
mean,
in the work
honestly,
like
if you think about it, Snoop Dogg brought a lot to the table as far as like the Olympics are concerned. The viewership, I feel like he played a huge role in like
yeah,
an
Snoop
uptake
Dogg
in
gonna bring
viewership.
that community together.
Yeah,
That's one thing
he
he's
literally
really
felt
known
like
for.
the Olympic mascot this year. Like, I'm sure
Yeah.
he brought like a lot more eyes on the Olympic. He was part of the appeal of the Olympics this year for me, for
Hmm.
sure.
but it also sets the standard of this is what my pay is, man. They could have easily said, I'm gonna give you 10 racks for the week. And out of
And
excitement,
they wouldn't have got him. Then they
Yeah,
would
right.
Asian
have
said,
For damn sure wouldn't have got Beyonce.
and he
Oh
could
yeah,
say,
no, we don't
yeah,
even want to know what she got paid because
but there was room for negotiation, probably in a room that you and us weren't invited to, where there were number negotiations to say, this is what I'm valued at. You
yeah,
is too much, but to have me appear here, this is what my rate is.
mm-hmm.
Naya said, like when the people were coming at her husband for her medal.
She's talking about Simone's husband because he had that y'all remember that podcast
Yes.
interview? He was like, I'm the prize and all that stuff. I'm not even
Oh,
going
that was
cap.
so
Like,
embarrassing.
I still got a little bombastic side eye at him for those comments. But what I will say is that he seems to be like a very supportive husband. They seem to be a very
I
supportive couple. I enjoyed seeing there were a lot of couples. There was a lot of like couple media for the Olympics. A lot of people who were in relationships and they got into the Olympics together. A lot of people like supporting their, husband and or wife in the Olympics. That was also a really beautiful thing to see and witness. Simone's husband included. So
I have to also agree with Rose. She said he made a lot of people want to watch, old and young.
Mhm.
yeah, Snoop did. Yeah.
We're talking about the tweet that went viral when the young lady said, "I remember getting grounded for listening
Yeah.
to Snoop Dogg, and now to think that my mom has become his biggest fan with the Olympics." That says to me a lot about how much he's grown. Where you're able,
Yeah. Oh yes, I agree.
where you
I
can
agree.
speak the language of any culture, any race.
And when you think about like what he comes from, like what Snoop Dogg is a product of, like we know, I feel like Snoop Dogg for me is probably like a founding father of West Coast gangster rap. So to
Yeah.
see him go from that to be so universal, especially when a lot of his peers, I'm sure he has a lot of peers that like haven't been able to make it to his, ripe old age of 50, whatever how old he is now. So it's really beautiful to see how well rounded and universal he has grown to be for sure.
K. Nee says Snoop is a household name and he's being paid to be Snoop Dogg unapologetically, in my opinion. It's a W.
Did I see him with the horses? That was hilarious.
Mm.
Like he was how he was
But
saying like the
also think about
on the
it.
sidewalk.
It actually took a lot for him to. It's one thing to go up there and be like, "Oh, that's Coach Nita. She gonna rip the room." But if I haven't studied the room, I'm doing the room a disservice. You see what I'm saying? I'm just entering because I'm Coach Nita. But he had to
Mhm.
learn what is an equestrian. He had
Yeah,
to learn to study who the different players were. To
Yeah.
me, I think that there was a charisma that he brought. I also looked at it from a professional growth perspective. Is that he studied this? He
yeah.
circled himself around the right people to be able to bring this W out of him. And he
Did
was
like that he wore a black Olympian on his shirt every day. I did like that too.
every day. And you saw him at a vast majority of multi different sports from swimming. He had this, he had that. But it also, to me, shined the light on, if we have to tie it back to music, and you guys are both musically inclined, is that sometimes you can be more than just singing on the mic.
Hmm.
You can be at the leadership table. Shout out to K Mish and Muse Management. You can be in a
Shout
leadership.
out.
Shout out, honey, to Muse Management who put on a badass show this past weekend. Um,
Okay.
you can be
Yes,
at
ma'am.
I also look at it. I also look at it from a perspective of what does it take to be great. That just don't happen overnight. You can't just wake up and say, "Hey, I can do some cartwheels." Remember, we was all little. You be telling your mama, your grandma, "Hey, watch this." That's not gonna get you into the
It's
Olympics.
just it's just doing what everybody else isn't willing to do, is incapable of doing, because it's not just a sacrifice on the part of the person themselves, the Olympian themselves. Usually it's a whole family affair. Your parents got to get you to the practices and pay all the money for your gear, for your whatever, for your training. So it's a all hands in, all hands on deck, and you're the 1%. You're doing that extra mile that most people aren't capable of doing. So yeah, it literally takes a lot to be great. It takes everything to be great.
Mhm. I want to circle before we close out of here is looking at it from a perspective of sometimes greatness comes with isolation. And a lot of these greats were able to travel with families because, like Rose was telling me, we were looking at some of the prices over the weekend.
Mm.
Getting a one-stop shop ticket, like $10 to get you to all the booths. I'm talking
Right.
racks. I'm talking racks, like how much it cost.
So
Um,
I'm just gonna watch it from
A- The
my
Olympic,
TV.
right? Exactly. From my good TV, Olympics to me feels like almost like the Coachella of sports. You
oh,
know, like
Right.
you have like a list of like the sets and like what time, like oh fencing's at this time,
yes.
water polo's at this time. Like okay, what am I gonna catch? Like that's what it was feeling like to me.
And it seemed like even some of the things that a lot of people really weren't interested in. I know breakdancing got a lot of backlash. So that.
Because of the Australian breakdancer.
Right, right.
Wait, I
But
didn't catch that one.
when you look at
Lord.
it, was
First
I
of all, I didn't know breakdancing was even considered an Olympic sport for first and foremost.
Wait, this is serious? Like breakdancing? Like,
There was a breakdancing portion and there was the team Australia. I mean, if you just type in like Australian breakdancing, it'll pop up. So, but yeah,
an
and
Olympian
that was so hard to
breakdancer.
watch.
Wow. Okay.
The memes off of that alone, they took real good care of me because that was hilarious.
That's actually funny. I didn't know that was a thing.
I also
Look, learn something new every day.
love
And
the
a breakdance.
perspective that the Olympics has brought in such a mixture of different things from breakdancing to did he say first and last
First, last breakdancing
not break
breaking competition. Is that a fact, Amanda? Is that confirmed that it went so terrible in Paris that it's not coming back to LA in
Okay.
it
2028?
was like a pilot trial run.
Right.
And they're like, you know what? This did not go over well. We're gonna have
Yeah, this is not
to.
actually good.
Homework. Nisha, give us some takeaways that you may have from this whole experience. Did this inspire you? Did this ignite you? I know you're going to be watching it from home in LA because already LA traffic is already gruesome. So
Right.
Yeah.
tens of
Um,
thousands of extra people on the 110. Give us some.
I'm gonna put a new spin on the takeaway today. I'm gonna say if I was Olympian, like what Olympic sport like I would want to go into. I feel like if I had it in me to become an Olympian, I think I would either want to do I think I gotta go classic and go with either gymnastics or like track. I would want to be like a Simone or like a Shikari for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because I have asthma, so like to be able to like run like the wind and like be able to breathe and not have these baby lungs that I've been cursed with,
Yeah.
that would be great.
What about
I
you?
would say the same. I would say track. Cause well in high school I literally ran track for like 1 year and I was like, actually this is not for me. But I don't know. I kind of like the thought of me like, what if I continued and like actually tried and like disciplined myself to like
Hmm.
stay sport if I could be an Olympian. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of young people this year too. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
I, I would also say before I give my feedback is that we notice that the Olympics are every 4 years, just like our election,
Yep,
like clockwork.
yep.
And
Interesting tie-in.
interesting tie-in. There were a lot of innuendos, right? There were a lot of like secrets of how to be persuasive. If you notice, I don't think that that's coincidental. Um, I think it's very creative of how they tie the two together, and it's right around the threshold of when it's time to vote. It's not like it's in January, February. So come October, November, it's far fetched from your brain. It's literally fresh still on your brain. So you
I
have
don't know, maybe a strategic move. I don't know if you're in
strategic.
control of when the Olympics happen and things like that, but could be some type of strategy to like promote patriotism within the community, within our hearts. Like I was saying earlier, I love like how the patriotism is like very much temporary in the Black community. It's like, yeah, we rooting for USA, but like the Olympics over now, it's back to America has a problem.
Right.
Kind of swept underneath the rug for about 2 weeks. Y'all know I'm a boxer. I'm into boxing, but I looked at it from a perspective, and I've even trained at that level, and I've trained others, but not to that level where they competed at the Olympics. I prepare them for that, but I would do it from a perspective of really what discipline needed would it really take for you to compete at the Olympic level. At the Olympic level, a lot of people forget that Olympic boxing sometimes is before people go pro. Like you countries and kind of go pro and stuff like that. But the traditional line is being an Olympian and then you go pro. So you're also competed in USA boxing. So they'll go back and look at his or her, like Clarissa Shields, Shakir Stevenson. They'll go back and look at their Olympic record and then tie that in conjunction to their professional record. But there are records at the USA level that people don't forget about. And some of the greats have competed in the Olympics before they went to professional. The other one I'd have to agree with Nisha would be fencing. I don't know if it's the inner project kid in me where I want to low key shank somebody just to what it's like, but it's more than just trying to stab somebody. It's strategy.
It is. There's a posture to it, and like just the movement of it. Like it's very interesting. It's always interested me, but it just
I've
doesn't.
never understood it. So I'm just like,
Yeah, it does
what's
feel
the,
like
how do we rack up
but
points?
like
Like,
we need to
Rack
get
the
out of
points.
that.
Okay. Okay.
I like how, yeah, I don't understand, like, how are we, I don't know, how do you know you won? Like,
Right, right. You know,
Nobody.
I feel the same way about tennis. Like tennis seems like kind of simple to a degree, like how fencing seems like, well, you just, you poke the other person, you get a point or something. Tennis is similar where it's like there's so many rules outside of just like hitting the ball back and forth within the bounds,
yeah.
stuff like that, more so than I even realized. So it would be interesting, and I know it would take a certain level of discipline that I'm sure not everybody has.
Um, be, Before we get out of here, I want to make sure that you guys are supporting our platform. Because remember, you want to remember us at the Olympic trial level. So when we get to the Olympics and we get to the professional stage, you won't forget where we started. So like, share, subscribe, go back and rewatch it. I'm hoping that this Olympic year was one that tied together families. You had families coming together and having viewer parties. You have people coming together to just talk about it. I mean, I talk to my cousin almost every day, but to see her, I'm at the barbershop, Caleb, and she's texting me like, you see the cutie pie running? He's running. And she's texting me this, and she's
Yeah, Germany had a real cute black dude,
I'm
Leo
telling you,
something.
Germany
I
did
can't pronounce
not
his last name,
disappoint.
Germany did not.
right?
Germany,
Germany did
But
not
they had a
disappoint.
handsome fellow
Germany
on the
did not.
running team.
I might have to make a trip down
You've
there.
been to Germany. I remember when you was
Yeah, I
in
made a
the
stop through Germany.
military.
Then
Yeah,
pick us up when you go see where the Baptist is at. Come back and
gotta go take another trip.
take another trip. Again, I am your captain, baby. I am Coach Nita, representing Mind Control and the Self Care Lab. I got me some Caleb Rashad. Y'all make sure you go and follow and support his platform. He put on a show this weekend. Shout out to his management group. Make sure that you follow Nisha. Nisha got some great stuff on her platform. I don't see
Thank
how
you kindly.
videos. I think it's really dope how you do it. They're so creative, especially the ones you do like when you're at the workplace. They're so realistic. Uh, the stuff that happens and the people don't understand the behind the
It's
scenes.
so relatable. Like,
Thank you.
So
That's our company time. Another podcast I'm a part of. Shameless plug. Yes, it's work. It's work related humor. So we want to appeal to our fellow, not just Black women, but everybody who are in the workplace and they are enduring the BS of everyday life. That is what we strive to. So that's a great compliment. I'm glad y'all find relatability in it.
Again, thank you all for joining in as we're continuing this pilot run. We got some things cooking up our sleeves for 2024 and 2025. Again, I'm your captain. These are my co-captain, my co-pilots, and